Hi, I'm Meg.
And I'm David.
Welcome to The Average Vegans, a podcast to help you live an attainable vegan lifestyle. We're not the ripped influencer vegans you hear about in other podcasts. We're just some ordinary people living in the South, eating plants and loving animals.
All right. Well, on today's episode, we're discussing thrifting tips. I spent like 3 minutes before we started recording trying to think of like a fun way to say that. So, thrifting tips. I just missed the eyes with ease. Thought it was funny, and that's what my brain is today. I'm already burned out, and it's only like a Tuesday. No, but
Oh my gosh.
we're disgusting. We're discussing and disgusting.
I am not disgusting. Speak for yourself.
I just showered. I got from the gym. I took a shower. So neither am I. We are discussing thrifting tips and ways to thrift.
Wow, you're really selling it there, David.
Ways to be thrifty, not swifty, which was a meme song.
Okay. All right.
Thrifty.
All right. So we're talking about thrifting because it is something that I love. I'm a thriftaholic. I love to thrift clothes and home decor and all kinds of stuff. And so I wanted to do a whole episode on how I find the best thrifting deals and any tips for people that might have never ventured into buying second hand clothing, which is what thrifting is, in case you don't know what the hell that word means.
Well,
I mean, it could be.
What?
I don't know.
Because there are a lot of people who like go vegan for like animals, but also for the planet, for the health of the planet as a whole. Thrifting is very planet focused and sustainability. You know, the reduce, reuse, recycle. So I think it definitely falls in line with the morals of a plant based diet.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is a link there for sure. And we do talk about another link that there is between being vegan and thrifting. But yeah, it definitely is something that will help the environment. And we're going to talk about some pretty crazy stats real quickly.
Oh.
So let's talk about fast fashion, which is the clothing you buy from big corporations. So your Target clothing or Walmart or whatever, those big name brands, those are fast fashion because they can make those clothes quickly, as opposed to a smaller, more secondhand or mom and pop store that would have to take a little bit more time. So fast fashion, which is hard for me to say, it always becomes like one word. I don't know why. Fast fashion is responsible for 8% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. Every year, the fashion industry accounts for 1.7 billion tons of carbon dioxide emissions worldwide, and this represents more than all air and sea travel combined. That's insane.
Well, fast fashion also has a tendency to wear out faster.
Yes.
So you tend to have to buy it more frequently. I have a pair of Target jeans actually, and the seam at the back pocket has got a little hole in it. I'm like, I just bought these. So yeah, fast fashion has a tendency to not be the highest quality because it's made so fast. To your point, so they wear out faster, so you have to buy it more frequently, which again adds to the kind of exacerbates the issue.
And ladies like myself who have thicker thighs know that fast fashion cannot handle the rub because it will deteriorate on our inner thighs and make giant holes in our pants. And I've experienced that so many times with Walmart pants.
I've been there. Again. No, I've been there. I was a big old boy. I've been there.
Oh, so frustrating. So instead of buying fast fashion, there is the option to thrift. And that, again, like David said, does encompass one of the 3 R's that we know of. This is the reusing option. So if you're buying from somewhere where someone else has donated clothing, you are reusing that item. And then in turn, you may later donate that item back to another thrift store, continuing that cycle of reuse. There are a lot of fast fashion items in thrift stores, oddly enough. So you could, I mean, buying it secondhand is a little bit better than buying it firsthand. But like David said, it may not be the best quality. So that is something to keep in mind as you are thrifting and searching through things, to look for quality. So let's get into some tips. The first is kind of, it seems daunting, but thrifting does take work. You have to dig. It's some time consuming stuff. So dedicating a Saturday to going to a few thrift stores to explore every single piece of clothing is the best way to do it. Just stopping in for a quick look through the thrift store is not the best option. You need to have some time because looking at every single piece is important, not just for whether it speaks to you, but what could this become? So you have to have a little bit of an imagination, which can be hard for a lot of people. I wish you guys could see David right now.
It's a SpongeBob imagination.
You really do. You have to kind of look at a shirt and be like, okay, maybe that's a pattern I don't like so much. I mean, it's cute, but would I really wear it? But then try to style it in an outfit. Okay, so this is my first tip. Instead of just looking at pieces as individual pieces, you're in a thrift store. Find a pair of pants that might fit you or wear your favorite jeans when you go thrifting so that every shirt you try on is, compared to your favorite jeans. How does it look with that? So trying to make an outfit out of a piece can help you kind of visualize how you would wear it. So again, back to a shirt that has a pattern you're not, you're kind of in love with, but you're not sure how you would wear it. Put it with a pair of black pants, put it with a skirt, put it up against like some corduroy pants or something like that. Like, what does that look like? How can you use that shirt in different options, in different ways? And that way you're not just looking at it as, oh, do I like this cut and this style? It's more, does it make a cute outfit? Right. Like
Right.
I've loved, that's my favorite way to shop. And I do it with, also with fast fashion. If I'm at a store, trying to visualize a piece as an outfit really helps you kind of determine if you really want it or not. There's a lot of times you'll bring home things from a thrift store you're not so sure about, may not work out so great. So we're going to talk a little bit later about ways to reuse maybe some of those mistake buys.
Well, I remember on your birthday we went thrifting, and that's what we did. We actually went around and like worked at outfits. Like we found a shirt. Let's find a pants. Let's find a skirt. Let's find some gloves or whatever. We just find like different ways to make things match and work together. So especially something that wasn't usually something you go for, but we find ways to make it work. It's pretty cool.
Right. That was one of my favorite birthdays. And this is going to be, I'll give you a little side tip. This was actually the last time we all hung out before COVID, by the way, too. So it was right before that hit. So I brought all my friends together for my birthday one year. We all went to Goodwill. And I said, go find clothes that you think will look good on me. Go make me some outfits, go find me some dresses, whatever. And I gave them all my size and they just kept handing me clothes. And I was like, yes, no, yes, no. And then I tried it all on and ended up buying like a crap ton of clothes that I
Mm-hmm.
still wear to this day. So
That's pretty
that's a
fun.
cool little idea. So random, but I love it.
Yeah, and thing to remember about like Goodwill or any thrift stores, they're regional, so it depends on where you are. If you're looking for a certain type of clothing, certain style, or a certain brand, so that sort of thing, go to different areas. If you're looking for something a little higher quality or higher end, find the affluent areas near you, and you might have to drive a little bit out and find a Goodwill in that area. People tend to donate thrift stores and Goodwill and those sorts of things that are close to them. They're not going to drive like way out and donate, out of their way. It's usually like,
Yeah.
okay, on my way to work or home or whatever, I'm going to stop by and drop off this box of stuff. So yeah, if you're looking for something that's very specific to like an area of town or again a name brand, certain brands like that, you might want to go to the area that had or even a style. You have a certain if you have more of like a hipster kind of a style. If there's the area, your town, and your area, your city that has more of a hipster vibe, find a thrift store in that area. People have likely donated those type of clothes, and you're gonna be able to find that style.
I literally wrote that tip further down in this document,
Did you
almost
really?
exactly because I said go to neighborhoods with the bigger houses and the vibes you like, which
My
is
bad.
exactly what you're saying. So I put like, I love little Five Points in Atlanta. That's my kind of vibes. So those thrift stores around there, they have a certain kind of vibe when you go in. You have a certain style of clothes. You get a little edgier stuff, like band tees are more prevalent around there. So you're right.
My
You go to
bad.
different areas to find different styles.
I didn't see that in the notes. I'm
That's
sorry.
so cute. I
I'm
love
sorry. I
that.
looked at all the notes. We went through this. I didn't even see that one part, and I was like, okay, well,
I love it. That's a great tip, though. And we'll talk a little bit more about where to
oh
shop
yeah, for sure.
further on, but we do have some really good tips on places to look for. So I want to go back to kind of styling a shirt as an outfit. You can do the same thing with home decor. So when you're looking at like all the glassware in like a thrift store, they put it all together usually. And you're like, that's just a bunch of glass. But if you see something that's like a color or a shape or a texture that you kind of think is like, looks a little unique or you might like, take it off that shelf and move it someplace else where it's not surrounded by glass and see how it looks. Take it, like put it in your cart, take it over to another area where there's no glass, and like how would that look next to like a wooden shelf
Hmm.
or something like that. So what may just kind of blend in and you go blind to, if you just move it away from that area, you're going to see it in a whole different way. And what may look like a normal vase in the store could look amazing in your house. So you kind of do have to use your imagination a little bit, which makes it more fun.
Yeah.
I like that part of it.
Heck yeah. I think what helped.
um,
Oh, sorry about
what the heck was that?
that. I don't know, man.
Uh,
Computers are weird.
When it
Um,
comes to furniture, I'm going to tell you this tip because I have missed out so many times. If you see something that you want that in the furniture section of a thrift store, even if you're not super sure, you're pretty sure, go for it. Because if you walk away just to think about it while you're shopping, you're going to come back and it's gone. It's gone. It's gone, gone, gone. Someone's taken it. This happened to me so many times. I learned my lesson. Never think about it. Just go for it. I just say that because like at thrift stores, furniture usually has like a tag on it so that like you can take part of the tag off and be like that, they'll people will know that it is sold because there's only half of a tag on it. Take that tag, they can tape it back together if you change your mind. It's not a big deal. But if you miss out on it, oh, you're gonna cry. I can still picture the piece I'm thinking about right now that I missed out on. Like, don't let that happen to you.
well, yeah, that and you want to go back too, frequently, because especially if you're
Yes.
looking for something very. I happened to me. A
Mm-hmm.
friend of mine. I was kind of looking for like a bookshelf, a very unique kind of looking bookshelf, and I knew exactly what I was looking for, and it was hard to find. I went back like a few weekends in a row, and it just was there, and I snagged it. At the point where everyone would stop me, like, where'd you get that? Did you?
Exactly. Furniture is like a hunt.
Yeah, and people were like super excited. Like I got something in the parking lot, and they was like, "That is a good find. That is really good."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they have another one. They don't.
Which
Um,
is always like a good feeling. You almost get like a little adrenaline rush when you're like, "Oh, I got a good deal. What a great
oh yeah,
find. Why would anybody get rid of this?"
oh yeah. I was just walking on strut land. Fuck y'all. I know what I found. I was like very specific looking bookshelf. I was like, yeah, hell yeah.
I
But
love
again,
it.
if I hadn't gone back multiple times, I never would have found it. So there's
Yeah,
something
that's a
you
good
just
tip.
yeah, because it changes. It's going to change from week to week, pretty much. Change day to day. But if you're looking for something very specific or a certain like type of furniture or houseware or anything like that, that you need for bookcases or jars for storage like that. Yeah, I would definitely go quite frequently to see. Yeah.
And the more you go, interact with some of the staff Because I have seen people that are kind of buddy buddy with management at thrift stores, and they'll let you know if something comes in that they know you're going to like. So I collect cobalt blue glass. So if there's a thrift store locally that I see has a bunch of cobalt blue glass, I would talk to the manager and be like, can you let me know when you get more in, please?
Yeah, yeah.
A little insider information can't hurt. So that's a good tip too. All right. So when you're going thrifting, before you even get there, there is a few little tips I wanted to share for the day. So bring supplies. Like I said, you're going to be there for a bit. So I like to bring a crossbody purse so my hands are free. I do sometimes put like gum or mint in there just so I have like a little something refreshing. Hand sanitizer,
Right.
obviously. They do most good or Goodwill and some thrift stores do not take American Express cards. Don't let that be a problem for you because that was a problem for me once. I had to put some stuff back. Very sad. Um, but being able to keep your hands free. So that also includes, and I can't believe I'm saying this, leave your coffee in the car or at home. Do not
Um,
bring a drink that has an open lid, even if it's with a straw and it has like a lid on it, it still could spill. You do not want to have to focus on making sure your drink is okay while you are thrifting and scouring and pushing people. I don't know. You might get violent. I don't know. But
what if you put your coffee in like one of those camel packs?
okay.
Is that
Well,
cool? I mean, hands free.
I mean, go for it.
A little straw.
Could you imagine how weird it would look at somebody who's like brown liquid coming through the tube?
First off, I don't need you judging me.
I would. That's gross. No,
Eh,
so I would say if you do want to bring a drink, bring like a bottled water so that it has a lid, like a water bottle that you have from home that has a lid, so you're not worrying about anything spilling, but you could still have a drink. And I never leave coffee in the car. I mean, come on, that's a travesty. But in this case, it gets in the way.
yeah, that just sounds like sounds like a blasphemy on the show.
I know,
I'm not
I
okay
know.
with that.
That's a problem. Now we've talked a bit about clothing, but don't forget that there are shoes, purses, jewelry, home decor, books. There's all kinds of stuff in thrift stores. There are some thrift stores that are a little bit more focused on clothing, and I'm going to talk about one in a few minutes. But if you're in one that has a variety of things, don't just become so focused on clothes that you don't recognize that there are other things there too. One other tip is check out if gender is obviously not real, it's all fluid, it's all fake. But if you want to explore other sections, go for it, because I buy a lot of my clothing in the men's section because they have comfier shirts. They have some of the cutest button down shirts I've ever seen in the men's section. I love it. The jackets, holy crap. So try other sections and see what might work for you. Um, Always check the shoes, but I will give you a very embarrassing story that happened recently. I don't know if I've even told anyone this. My
Oh,
family knows, but I went out to dinner with my family and we had to sit outside to wait for a seat. There's a bunch of people around us also waiting for their seats. And like across from us is another family. And they're kind of the only people that really can see us where we're sitting. And I'm sitting on this bench and I had these cute wedges on. Okay. I bought these shoes from a thrift store. They were like teal on top and wedged on the bottom. So cute. I was tall and I'm a shorty. So it was great. Next to my daughters who are giants. Love these shoes, right? So I'm sitting there and I wasn't even standing, thank gosh, because that could have been bad. And all of a sudden, the whole wedge cork part of one of my shoes just falls right off. And suddenly I have a flat on my foot that no longer has a wedge attached to it. It is just like the flat part of the shoe on my foot. And now I'm just like one wedge, one no wedge. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And so my husband's like, oh God, what do we do? And I was like, well, there's a Marshall's over there. I guess I could go get a new pair of shoes. And then I was like, you know what? Forget it. And I just ripped off the other wedge and walked into this restaurant with my broken flats that are like homemade flats. That felt freaking weird as shit because you're supposed to have a wedge on the bottom of these things. But after I did that, my husband's like, that was cool. And the lady across from us was like, that was one of the most badass things I've seen in a long time. She's like, some women would have whined and complained and ruined the night, and you just ripped your other shoe apart. I was like, well, what am I going to do with them?
Modern problems require modern solutions. Wait,
So the reason I share that is because test the shoes. If I had barely moved the damn wedge, I would have realized it probably wasn't attached very well. It's the first time I wore them. Test the shoes a little bit.
or carry tape, some glue.
I probably could have super glued those things back together.
When you told me the story, all I can think about is the Mentos commercial where the woman had her heel break and she popped a Mentos and then just like broke the other one off, and the guy was like, "You're so clever." And
I really did feel kind of clever.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it was such a bummer, but whatever. R.I.P. my cute shoes. I really was really looking forward to those. But again, they do have a lot of cute shoes. I have bought some really cute shoes at thrift stores. Now, obviously, look for the ones that haven't been worn very often. Duh. You don't want some like super used shoe. That's gross. One other tip that my husband did not know: wash the clothes before you wear them.
Ew.
You get them home, you immediately put them in the washer. Like immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Immediately.
Like seriously.
You're like, ill. Wipe everything down. Like, just because it's probably been sitting there for a while, it was used before. A million people might have touched it. So
Exactly.
it's worth it to wipe everything down that you buy from a thrift store. Just to be cautious.
That's
especially
nasty.
in the nowadays.
Oof.
Sometimes thrifting can be a little more expensive than you might expect, because you think thrifting and you're going to get a deal. You're going to get like, a $6 shirt. That's great. There are some stores that are more vintage stores and not thrift stores. So you have to be conscious of that. You can go into, there's one in Little 5 Points that's a little bit more vintage than thrift, because it's a little bit more expensive. They are much higher quality products than other thrift stores, but prices can get a little higher. So check prices when you walk into a store. If it looks a little fancier, it probably is going to be a higher price. And that's not like a bad thing. You can still get good quality, vintage, thrifted, secondhand clothing. It just might be a little bit more expensive. So a little bit bigger problem in California than it is in Georgia, but it happens.
I found the places that have like designated like set up rooms or booths with stuff in it. That usually is like a good sign of like, ooh, this might be a little higher than I thought it'd be.
Yes, that is very true. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit of a vegan aspect to thrifting. When you are searching through these clothing products, shoes, purses, whatever, there may be materials used that are not vegan. So I have checked out a dress before and been like, oh, I love this. This is so cute. But then like the lining inside is silk. So reading the tag let me know that there was a silk lining. Or there may be purses that have like leather, the little tags that go in the zippers. Those may be leather, things like that. So it's just important to double check what you're looking at to make sure that unless you're okay with buying secondhand non-vegan products. I mean, some people are totally fine with that. But if you're not, like, don't like buy something, get home, and then look at it and realize, oh shit,
Be a good
because you may not be able to, like, you may not end up donating it back, and that may be a waste all over again, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, be a good little vegan. Always read your labels.
There you go.
Bear in mind, one thing to bear in mind is that since you're buying secondhand, you're not putting a demand back into the market. So if you do, like, oh, you see a bag, a handbag, or a purse or something like that, and it's fabric, maybe there's like a tassel that's leather, you can always just take that off,
That's true.
right?
Very
So
true.
a lot of vegans are okay with doing something that's not with this leather or has animal products on it, because secondhand, and because it's secondhand, it's not, again, not adding demand to the market. So not there.
Right.
So it's like if you go out to like Target and you buy a leather jacket, they're going to order more leather jackets.
Right.
But if you go to Goodwill and you find a leather jacket, now that I wouldn't do this, but I understand the mentality of it. You buy a leather jacket, they're not going to go like find another one. One
Right.
may come across
Exactly.
their path, but it's going to come across their path no matter what. Um, but if you're like, oh, I really like this bag, I can go buy it brand new, or I can go buy it here, but it's got leather, little tassel on it. Well, then cut the tassel off.
Yep.
You're going to save money, but you're also not going to put. You also, you're hitting that with the R, that reuse. You're not putting demand back in the market. You're not. They're not having to make another one to replace the one you purchased. So you're still doing good. So if you're comfortable making that purchase, you can always just remove the animal product item that's on it if needed.
Such a great tip. Good job, David.
All right, that was mine. So May will finish this out. I'll go ahead.
All right, let's talk about where to go thrifting. So, here's some interesting tips. So, there's a lot of local thrift stores. People might automatically think like Goodwill and Salvation Army and stuff like that, but there's a lot of like small business thrift stores as well. And they tend to struggle quite a bit, especially during, pandemic times. They struggled a lot. There was a bunch of local thrift stores near me that went out of business and broke my little heart. So I always suggest going to local thrift stores first, support small businesses. There's a lot that also support a cause. So there's a Second Life Atlanta, which is a thrift store here in Georgia that helps homeless pets. So part of the proceeds that are from the sale of the thrift items goes back to an organization that helps homeless pets. So there's a lot of thrift stores that you could literally pinpoint what do they support, what charities do they support, do so that your money is going not just to reusing fashion, but also to a charity. There are thrift stores that are associated with the AIDS movement that are also a great option to shop at. There's St. Vincent de Paul Society thrift stores. They're, I think, in multiple states. I could be wrong, but it's a church thrift store, but it's also kind of uh, I guess you could consider it kind of a small or like thrift store, but they've got a lot of stuff in there. I'm going to give you some of my favorites here in Atlanta, besides Second Life Atlanta, which is a great one. There is another weirdly, Second Chance Thrift. Amazing place. Oh my gosh. I dream of going back to this place. If it was close to me, there would be a problem. And this is not a store you go to, like I said, for a quick stop. No. Even if you go as quickly as possible, you are going to be there for hours and it's going to be a good time. So be ready for it. I even saw wedding dresses there. So, I mean, you could thrift anything, really. Uptown Cheapskate is a little bit more of an expensive thrift store. My daughter loves that place because they have a lot of name brand products, a lot of clothes that she really likes, younger generation kind of clothing. There's a lot of band tees at that place as well. Super cool. Psycho Sisters. That is a thrift store in Little Five Points, and they have some of the coolest vintage clothing you will ever lay your eyes on. And they have them separated by decade in some sections. They've got everything you could possibly think of to, be a 70s queen or a 60s hippie or a rocker girl. Like they've got everything you could possibly want. It is a bit overwhelming when you walk into that thrift store, but if you've never been, that is an experience you have to have. So
Yeah, it's definitely a spot, especially if you're in Atlanta. It's just a spot to check out in general.
yeah, it's kind of a must. If you're walking through Little Five Points, you're going to notice Psycho
Oh yeah.
Sisters for sure. Okay, so there's online thrifting, which David completely reminded me of that I had was like lost, didn't even think about. So proud of himself. I
I
mean, you
helped.
could buy clothing off of eBay, but then there's Depop and Poshmark, which is just like an online thrift store.
Oh, and there's also the Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah,
Good one. Yeah,
all right.
absolutely. So another option besides going on Depop and Poshmark to go buy clothes is you can also go on and sell your clothes when you're ready to, you know, donate your clothing back to someone else. And you can usually make a pretty good amount on Depop or Poshmark. I don't know how much experience on eBay or Facebook marketplaces, but I do know quite a few people that use Depop and Poshmark, and they can make a pretty good amount of money doing, selling their clothes back. And so it's another way to not just like throw away clothes or, whatever you might do with your clothes when you're done using them. It's a great way to kind of get some money back too, which is always nice. We've mentioned Goodwill like a million times already because that is kind of the most popular thrift store. And David has mentioned talking about, going to neighborhoods that have bigger houses, the richer neighborhoods, or places that have kind of the styles you would like. Like I said, Little Five Points is my kind of vibe, so I would go there. Um, Now, Goodwill also has a certain color tag on sale every day.
Yeah, I know that.
So that's my little tip.
I know that.
Always
That's pretty
check
cool.
that tag or always check what color it is and look for it because I mean you're already getting a deal. Now you can get an even bigger deal.
I
Can't
didn't know
miss
that at all. That's pretty cool.
that. Okay.
All right.
These are kind of my favorite tips so like that we've talked about so far is when is the best time to go thrifting? So if you're not someone who's going to go frequently and you want to just like go a few times a year to, refresh your wardrobe or whatever, I've got some tips for you. When the weather starts to change, that's when you go to the thrift store for clothes. So right now, it's warm out. The weather is changing. It's no longer winter. People are going through their summer and spring clothes and seeing what doesn't fit me anymore. What do I hate? What am I like? Why did I ever wear that? And they are donating all of that extra clothing to thrift stores. So now it's full of clothes like tank tops galore, sundresses everywhere. So now is a
Ooh.
good time.
Yeah, sundress. Oh, sorry. I'll calm down.
I love it.
I like how
Now
quiet you're just like giving information. I'm like, yeah, sundresses.
you're such a dork. Oh. So when it starts to get colder again, that's when people are going to go through their winter stuff. What sweaters do they not like anymore? What coats are they not going to keep in their wardrobe? And that's when you go and stock up with stuff. Um, Also in the spring now, right, this very time, people are spring cleaning their houses, right? We're just trying to refresh. We're opening those windows, we're going through our clothes and trying to figure out what we do want, what we don't want, all that stuff. So now is also the time to shop. So it is really seasonal, which is really interesting, but spring cleaning has a big part in it. When the pandemic first hit, that was also a big part. When you could start donating, people were just donating everything, cleaning out their houses. But um yeah, those are definitely some specific times to go to find, things like there's a lot of sandals at thrift stores now. There's a lot of like, even like bathing suit cover-ups. Like there's all kinds of things you can get now because that's just what people have donated. Okay, so my last bit of tips. Are you ready?
I'm holding on to my seat.
ways to recycle your fashion. Okay, now not everybody is crafty, but this is for anyone that is crafty or, might have, some ability to learn to be crafty. First and foremost, you can just use old clothing as rags. If it's the right kind of material that will actually work for whatever cleaning you're doing, use your clothes for rags. I use my husband's old shirts as rags all the time. Cut them up into little pieces. Perfect. That's great. Now, if you want to do a little bit of sewing, you can make tote bags out of old t-shirts. I have done this many times. So there was a time when I wore a lot of shirts with sayings on them. And then I didn't want to wear that stupid saying anymore, but I still like the shirt, right? You can make that into a tote bag that has that same saying on it. So cute, so cute, cute, so cute. You can make headbands pretty simply, actually, like using just cutting a perfect sleeve, like a circle out of a sleeve and just stretching it till it fits your headband. You can make bracelets where you can actually make strips of the fabric, like t-shirt fabric, and tie them into like little ropes to make bracelets. You can make scrunchies, and you can also alter clothing to make your own clothing. So for the t-shirt, cut the sides up. Now you got a piece of fabric.
I got a fun one. I got a fun way to use.
Give it to me.
All right. So if you have small children who like to paint, you can take a old a dress shirt and have them wear it backwards, and it becomes a smock, and they can paint and get crazy, and they don't get their clothes dirty.
Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah,
And all ladies, we all have, if you dye your hair at home, you have a shirt for hair dyeing or multiple shirts for hair dyeing. So that's also another way to kind of reuse your fashion. I have seen people use fabric from old clothes to make like dog clothes and dog stuff for dogs. So there's a bunch of ways you can reuse fashion. If it's not something that you want to donate again, or if you want to find something else to do with it, there's a bunch of, minimal crafting, minimal sewing kind of things. Oh, David's got another one.
I'm sorry, it's popped in my head. You can
So
you take your old clothing and you can shred it and you can put it into like a pillowcase or a pillow and sew that up, and then it'd be a good like little dog pillow, like a little throw pillow.
Yes, it becomes stuffing for
Yeah.
any kind of pillow. That's a
Yeah.
great idea too. Look at you. David is a genius. You can make pillows out of old shirts too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You've seen people make quilts out of people's old shirts, like when someone passes away, they use their shirts to make a quilt. You can do that kind of thing too. So if you are a runner and you have a million shirts from running, but you just don't wear those anymore, that would be a cool quilt. What a quilt. That would be so neat. Be like, I did all these races on this quilt.
I don't have a box of shirts that I want to do that with. Actually, that's my plan.
Okay, there you go.
I can't find out how to do it. I might do it myself. I can't find out how to do it.
Listen, I do know how to quilt. I try not to tell people this because they get real excited. I hate doing it. I'm not very patient, but I've made several quilts in my life. So if you need some assistance, I even have a sewing machine. I can help you.
I'm gonna hurt myself.
You will not. And if you learn to sew a little bit, the ladies will really like that.
I know how to sew. I don't know how to use a sewing machine. I can sew by hand though.
Oh, I mean, that would be cool. With the little thing. Come on.
Cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty hot. That's totally hot.
Oh my God. You guys are going to see an Instagram post of me trying to teach David how to sew now.
I'm just crying. Meg's yelling at me.
Just crying.
It's not hard, damn it.
Not your finger. Oh gosh. All right. So I think that's it for today's episode. We've gone over a bunch of information about how to make the most out of your thrifting experience, where to shop, when to shop, ways to reuse fashion, and the importance of thrifting, which, I just want to reiterate is very important to reuse fashion. Try to buy as little fast fashion as possible. I mean, there are people that do challenges where they go like a month or 3 months and try not to buy any new fast fashion clothing. So maybe challenge yourself once in a while to see how that goes. But we would love to hear your thrifting tips because I'm sure there's some other ones I didn't put in here. And if you are in Georgia and you know of any awesome thrift stores, you better tell me right now. And how do you tell me? Like always, you can message us on Instagram or Facebook at The Average Vegans or email us at theaveragevegans@gmail.com. Obviously, you can listen to our podcasts on all of your podcast apps, but please make sure to leave us a review. We desperately need more. Recommend us to anyone and everyone. You can find show notes, links, and more at theaveragevegans.com. And of course, we want to hear your episode recommendations, your thrifting tips, any questions you might have, and all of that good stuff.
Good stuff.
That's it for this week.
All right. Well, until next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.